just laughing at the images. Sometimes I see the images in the opening montage. So I saw them this time. Some good memories. Anyway, good morning. Happy Wednesday. Yeah, happy Wednesday. Today is the 22nd day of December. This is the 63rd episode of season 2 of the Be Your Own Hero show. HERO is an acronym. It means helping everyone reaps optimism. In other words, helping others helps you. It's a reciprocal action. Try it. You might like it. I'm your host. I'm sekouwrites. I am a professional creative and the creator of what I am now calling the HERO Ministry movement. And that is my effort to uplift and inspire the unhoused community through several different means. So, shout out to New Thought Media Network for allowing me the space and opportunity to be here and talk about my journey of becoming my own hero. Quick disclaimer, I am not a personal trainer or a financial advisor, so do your own due diligence. And if this show provides any value, please like, comment, share, spread the word, make a donation, all that good stuff. You'll find the information for all that in the show notes. And this show is Monday through Friday, 9:45 a.m. So check me out, 9:45 a.m. Eastern time. So check me out. Okay, I have made one more addition to Studio D. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but if you can spot it, you can let me know. I'm going to keep adding stuff, maybe. I shouldn't say that. I may or may not keep adding stuff to this little area behind me. But which shoulder is that? Yeah, my left shoulder over here. Okay, so that said, let's jump into the HERO Ministry Movement news. Shout out to the folks who are joining in. I see folks coming in. Thanks for giving us the morning cup of coffee, Tim. Appreciate that. And just a quick note about my run streak. Today is day 205. And if you watched my run report already, you've already heard the lesson. But today's lesson, for those of you who haven't seen the run report, is just to not quit. Just don't quit. Because I was fascinated by this today, and I was fascinated by it a few days ago. So this might be a repeat for some of you, but I'm still fascinated by it. Today, I was fascinated again by the fact that I can run from here to Fisk and around the track and back. Because I remember when I used to drive to Fisk, and mind you, I was driving to Fisk up until about a week ago. So I remember last year deep in the pandemic, when I was driving to Fisk and I would be running around the track and I would see people arrive on foot. They would run to the track and around the track and then run back into the neighborhood. And I was like, how do they do that? Where are they coming from? How are they running to the track and then back? And now I'm one of those people. It just happened. I didn't really think about it. It just happened. I can run to the school and around the track and back. It's amazing to me that I have become one of those people who I was confused by, who I couldn't fathom how they could do that. And now I'm one of those people. So moral of the story is just don't quit. You'll be surprised at what you're capable of. Just don't quit. Okay, that said, moving on. Let's see, what am I doing next? Oh, I was so excited yesterday that I completely skipped the morning Zen. So let me circle back and do yesterday's morning Zen and today's, see if I can get all that done quickly. Because I was so hype about those high income skills yesterday. I was on it yesterday. So I'm still going to talk about that today, but let me get the morning Zen in. So just a reminder, I try to read the Dalai Lama every morning as part of my morning practice, part of my way of grounding and centering myself before I go running, which has become another part of how I ground and center myself running. Yeah. So yesterday, the Dalai Lama was talking about love, which surprised me. Yeah, that surprised me. And so let me read you what he said. So what he said yesterday was real compassion is without attachment. I'm going to substitute the word love for compassion because I know from reading the whole passage that he meant love. So real love is without attachment. Real love is without attachment. And this reminded me that he had said something about this a few days earlier in the month. So I went back, scrolled back to that day. And on that day, he said, When you have love that is actually attachment, the slightest change in the other person, such as a tiny change of attitude, immediately causes you to change. This is because your emotion is based on something superficial. Strong stuff. Strong stuff. He went on to say, give your love without hoping for anything. Give your love without hoping for anything. Strong stuff. Strong stuff. So that was yesterday and also a few earlier days of December. In December, Dalai Lama talking about love. Today's quote, just as powerful, completely different topic. This one hit me hard though. Let me find it. Where did it go? Oh, yeah, hold on. I want to get this. Okay, here we go. Ready? Choosing to express your anger is choosing to practice anger. Right? That's a strong one. I'm going to say it again. Choosing to express your anger is choosing to practice anger. And if you've been listening to Rev Mel, you know she's been talking a lot about practice. SIP, the acronym for SIP, is spirit in practice. It's all about what you practice every day that really determines your life. Not what you practice on Sunday during church, not what you practice in the morning when you do your morning Zen, but what you practice every day throughout the day. That is what really shapes your life. The stuff that you don't really think about, those habits that you don't really challenge yourself on, those are the things that actually shape your life. That's strong. And you do not want to practice anger. So I'm going to say it one more time. Choosing to express your anger is choosing to practice anger. And remember, we always have a choice. No matter what happens out there in the world, it is a neutral event. No matter what it is a neutral event. We attach meaning to it. We decide how to feel about it. And we can make a choice that's a different choice than the choice that we've made in the past. We can start to make a new choice about the same thing. We can start to see the new thing differently. Okay, I'm gonna tell a story. I'm looking at the time. I think I got a minute to tell a quick story. So when I first moved to New York, I was working for a PR agency that did PR, public relations, for the hip hop industry. So I don't know if you know anything about the inner workings of the music industry, but the music industry as a whole is pretty dysfunctional. It's pretty dysfunctional. Like the way I described it in those early days was, it's like the people who are kind of misfits in society gravitate towards this one industry. So you've got kind of all these people who are kind of, that don't really fit in other categories. They're all working in the same industry. And so nothing works the way you would expect it to work. Like nothing. Like I remember one time, just for example, I had to call Def Jam Records. I had to call them a lot, but so I'm calling Def Jam all morning. I'm calling them, trying to get them on the phone to set up this meeting, and they're not answering the phone. Well, Def Jam was around the corner. So finally, I go over there. I'm like, all right, well, I guess maybe there's nobody on duty or something. Let me go over there and see what's going on. I get there, and the receptionist is at the desk doing her nails. And I'm like, have you been here? Are you just getting here? She's like, no, I've been here all morning. I was like, did you hear the phone ringing a little while ago? She's like, yeah, I heard it. Like that's an example of how it was in the music industry. It was like that all the time. Anyway, another thing that would happen a lot is there was always arguments, like all the time. People were yelling at each other all the time, like no business decorum at all. Fist fights, it was crazy. It's a whole book. It's a whole thing. Anyway, so I felt at the time like, okay, maybe I want to learn how to assert myself in this way. I want to learn how to, be argumentative in the same kind of way that I was surrounded by. So I spent maybe a week yelling at people, but only when I was challenged by something. But I was like, all right, well, let me practice yelling at people the way that other people are yelling at me. So if they yell at me, I'd yell back. for about a week. And I would get what it was that I wanted in those circumstances, but I always felt so drained. I just felt so miserable, even when I got what I wanted. And I was like, this ain't for me. This ain't for me. It's not the way I want to live my life. And so all of that came back to me this morning when I read this from the Dalai Lama, when he said, choosing to express your anger is choosing to practice anger. And there's something that happens inside you that is not a good thing when you're playing with anger. So I shared that story with you, and I can already hear people about to text me to say that I should write a book about those experiences. I'll get to it. There's a lot of things on the list. Anyway, so that was the morning zen from yesterday about love, and today about choosing anger. So it's almost 10 o'clock. So just to reset the room, this is season 2 of the Be Your Own Hero show. Season 2 has been about spiritual abundance, about finding abundance in everything around us, including financially. So if you're just joining us, please tune in a little bit earlier at 9:45. The show has been expanded from 15 minutes to a half hour. So we've been talking for a few minutes. So whatever you missed, you can catch on the replay on Facebook and on YouTube. All right. So that said, let's move on to the money part. Let's do this affirmation. Here we go. I am so happy and grateful to be a multimillionaire in every area of my life. I am so happy and grateful to be a multimillionaire in every area of my life. Okay, so just jumping back in the comments. I think Tim has asked me for the Dalai Lama book. So I'll get the name. I'll give you the name tomorrow. And so just so I won't lose time looking for it, but I'll give you the name tomorrow. And yes, Dan, it's a great reminder about how we assign meaning to things and we have choices. And most of the time we just do it automatically, especially if it's the same thing that happened yesterday. We just assign the same meaning, same meaning, same meaning. And we have to break that pattern. Nobody can do it but us. And yes, Facebook user, choice is always available. Okay, so we have been talking about the fact that the average millionaire has about 7 streams of income. And that's a general number. Like it's an average. Some millionaires have more, some have less. So don't get too attached to the number 7. The point is, most millionaires have multiple streams of revenue. And so to become a millionaire, you need to develop multiple streams of revenue, which, by the way, is a good reminder that I should say this every day too. So poor people spend, the middle class saves, but the wealthy invests. And investing is one of the revenue streams. That's why it was a good segue. So you must invest. All right. So anyway, we've been talking about how millionaires have seven different streams of income on average. And that led us to high income skills. So I'm going to recap that in a second. And that led us to the wealth triangle, which I'm going to talk about more today. So let's recap high income skills. So high income skills are basically non-college related skills that can generate $100,000 with no full-time job. So in my language, you can make full-time money with part-time work. You can make full-time money with part-time work. Full-time money meaning at least 6 figures. So let's change the statement. You can make 6 figures working part-time. Oh yeah, that feels much better. You can make 6 figures working part-time with these high income skills, right? And mind you, I have been down this rabbit hole quite a bit. So I'm going to tell you now before I forget, the homework is the same homework. Google it again. For those of you that Googled it yesterday, Google it again. Matter of fact, don't even Google it. Go to YouTube and type high income skills. Why? Because even if you looked it up yesterday, you will find that there is no comprehensive, definitive list of high income skills. It's not like a car engine where there's a certain list of things that are in a car engine. No, it's very subjective. There are certain skills that are repeated on just about everybody's list. But if you keep reading different lists, like top 11, top 7, top 3, you will find a wide assortment of skills And not all of them are on everybody's list. And some of the ones you read will remind you of something that you have done. Yes, it will remind you of something that you've already done. My mom and I were talking about this yesterday, and she mentioned that one of the skills that she Googled, that she saw when she looked it up. And honestly, I told her this, I only developed that skill because when I had a job, the person who was supposed to do that function kept not showing up. So, it's not like I was like, oh, I just want to learn how to. No, I was like, we got to get the work done. The person keeps not showing up. Let me figure out how to do this. And now that is something that, I know how to do. So it could be the same for you. It might be something that you're not even thinking about as a high income skill that you just happen to develop. So Google it again, drop it into YouTube, and keep looking it up because you're going to find something that you have already done. You're going to find something that you already know how to do. My list currently stands at 10 things, 10 different things that I've already done that are on the high income skills list. It's crazy. It's crazy. I never knew that these were high income skills. I never thought about them in that way. That's why mindset is important. Anyway, let me get back on track. My bad. This is very exciting to me. Okay, so high income skill is basically being able to generate 6 figures with part-time work, right? And that led me to the wealth triangle. I was like, what's the wealth triangle? So I spent a little bit of time with it, and it turns out it was invented by Dan Lok. Now, I was already familiar with Dan Lok because I've been in this space of abundance and looking at different videos and reading different books related to money. And so Dan Lok is a name that pops up often. I hadn't done a deep dive on him, but I was aware of him. So he's an Asian man who is a multimillionaire. I think his net worth is $104 million. So significant net worth. Here are the things that he did to get there. Like, I didn't know this before yesterday, but I know it now. So he started off with copywriting by accident. He had a mentor. His mentor told him to learn copywriting. He learned copywriting, and he was able to make $100,000 a year just copywriting. Just freelance copywriting. He was able to make $100,000 a year. And time out for a second. Copywriting is persuasive writing. That's all it is. Persuasive writing. You're trying to get someone to do something. That's copywriting. Usually we associate it with ad copy. They're getting you to buy the thing. So anyway, freelance copywriting was his first high income skill. He said that he didn't even know to call it a high income skill at the time, but that was his first one. When he was copywriting for all these companies, the company started asking him questions. And so he became a de facto consultant. Like, after answering the questions for a while, he was like, hey, I should be charging to answer these questions. So his second high income skill was becoming a consultant. Say, hey, you want me to answer these questions? Give me some money, and then I'll answer the questions. So that was high income skill number 2. And then obviously they overlap. Copywriting clients would also ask him to become a consultant. And then he said he discovered that he could not get other people to sign on. Like, he had his copywriting clients. His copywriting clients also became consulting clients because they wanted more information. But new people who weren't already working with him, he couldn't get them to sign on. And he took all these classes about how to do sales, and none of them worked for him. So he had to develop his own method, he says, of closing. In other words, getting people to buy his product. And so closing became his third high income skill. And those are his top 3. He uses those 3 in perpetuity to create his multi-million-dollar empire. Of those, the one that he uses the most is closing. And that's the one that he teaches classes on. And he says, he was kind of speaking to me when he said this, like, sales has this negative connotation. People don't want to do sales. They don't want to be pushy. But it's not really about that. It's about the fact that you've got something that you want people to get. And so you have to be persuasive. It's about being persuasive. It's about learning the skill of being persuasive. And when you put it that way, I mean, we all have things we want to sell. Like, even if it's just we're trying to sell something in the house, right? Like, that we want to get rid of. Being persuasive is a very valuable skill when you think about it that way. So anyway, those are the 3 high net worth, high income skills that he developed and how he created his multi-million-dollar empire. He also created this term called the wealth triangle. So what this means, I have show and tell. I haven't done show and tell in a long time. So I'll do the show and tell first, and then I'll come back and explain my version of what he's saying. So let's see. This is not Dan Locke talking about the wealth triangle, but somebody else talking about Dan Locke's wealth triangle. So let me just play that. Hold on one second. Here we go.
The wealth triangle strategy that will make you rich. Do you know that according to the Social Security Administration, out of 100...
All right, I'm sorry. I'm going to start it over because the volume's so low. Turn this volume up so you can hear it. All right, here we go.
The wealth triangle strategy that will make you rich. Do you know that according to the Social Security Administration, out of 100 people, 1 will be wealthy, 4 will be financially secure, 5 will continue working not because they want to, 36 will be dead, 54 will be broke and depending on Social Security checks or family members just to get by the bare minimum of living comfortably. So, the question is, which one will you be? Unfortunately, most people never learn how money really works. Most of us were taught to go to school, get good grades, get a safe, secure job, or even start a small business. And if we're lucky enough, we could retire with a little nest egg at the age of 65. Most people didn't know there's a simpler way to achieve financial independence. It's called the wealth triangle, and there are 3 powerful sides to it. Wealth triangle side 1, high income skills. A high income skill is a skill set that has the potential to make you $10,000 or more a month. Most people have jobs. Few have high income jobs, and almost no one has a high income skill. A high income skill allows you to generate income part-time or full-time and from anywhere in the world. It provides you with security, certainty, and peace of mind. With a high income skill, you can enjoy all the freedom, fulfillment, and impact of any successful business owner without actually starting a business. No tech, capital, or setup required. A high income skill, once you have it, will put your financial destiny squarely in your own hands without relying on the government or a corporation. You will always be in demand, no matter what state the economy is in. In fact, the right high income skill is more valuable, more desirable, and more in demand during economic downturn times. If you have the desire to start your own business, you can then easily leverage your high income skill and transition to a wealth triangle side 2, scalable business. With your high income skill, you have a stable source of income for a growing scalable business that can provide you with a consistent cash flow and profit. A scalable business is something that you can grow without a lot of infrastructures. For example, a restaurant is not a scalable business because every time you want to open a second location, you'll have to sign a long lease, put in a lot of money to renovate that place, and hire a lot of people. On the other hand, an internet business, like an e-commerce store, is something you can grow without a lot of overhead or having to manage a big team. Most business owners don't run a business. The business runs them. They set out to start a business, and then they just end up working for themselves, not really building a business. A scalable business is a hyper-profitable machine that operates with or without you, so you can have more freedom and choices for yourself and your family. When your scalable business is generating excessive profits, you can then invest that money into a wealth triangle side 3, high return investment. A high return investment is an asset that can consistently generate at least 10% or more year in and year out. High return investments build your net worth. A major key to building wealth is making your money work for you, instead of you working for your money. The wealth triangle is built on the principle of income is king. It's designed to accelerate your wealth building process. First, you dramatically increase your income by developing your high income skills. Second, you leverage your proven skill sets to build a scalable business that generates profits. And lastly, you invest that profit into high return investments. It's as simple as that. That's how you not only achieve lifelong financial confidence, but also live the life that you've always dreamed of.
Okay, so that was pretty cool. I love the cartoons. I actually never saw the cartoons because I've been listening to this video as I run. So that was pretty cool. It was very funny, the cartoons. So you get the idea. The wealth triangle is identifying and building on your high income skills, right? And then turning that into a business, and then using the money to invest. Okay, so I'm going to make a couple edits for myself and maybe for you. So first, in terms of high income skills, the point that I'm making about telling you to Google it and YouTube it is that I'm just going to repeat, there is definitely a high income skill that you already have your imprint on. At least one, probably several high income skills that you are qualified for. So I want everyone to make that leap themselves and have that experience of saying, oh, wow, I do that. That's something that I enjoy doing, or something in of that nature. Right? That's number one. I want you to not be starting from scratch. I want you to be choosing, like I am, looking at this list of high income skills that I've already done and choosing which one might be the best fit. So that's number one. So part two, in terms of the scalable business, yes, that's a great idea, but you don't have to do that. If you're intimidated by the idea of being an entrepreneur, just skip that step. Now, if you're not intimidated, then yes, there are lots of tax benefits for having an LLC. You can pay yourself through the LLC, and then that's a whole other conversation, right? And I'm still learning it myself, but that's separate. So let's not talk about that right now. The point is, you can create a business, and the business should be scalable, as I said. And one of the ways to make it scalable is to have products that do not require your time, like downloadable products. Like, for example, an ebook, which is something that I have. Several of the books that I've written, I've converted into ebooks. So you can check them out on my website, sekouwrites.com. Okay, moving on. Yeah, just making the point that it is not necessary to start a business. You can go from part one, which is high income skills, straight to part three. And part three is investing in high yield returns or high yield investments, high yield assets. And how serendipitous is it that we've already been talking about that? We've already been talking about investing and the fact that investing is not optional. I don't know about you, but I've always been led to believe that investing was optional. It is not optional, because if you don't invest, the money that you have squirreled away somewhere is losing value constantly. It's losing value because of inflation. Wow. Losing value because of rising cost of goods. Swap. Losing value because of the falling value of the dollar. Wow. It's just cutting away at the money. So the money, the amount of money may be the same. It could be $100 that you've got saved somewhere, right? It still says $100 on your bank balance, but that $100 will buy less and less. So the value of that $100 is depreciating. That's important to know. It's also important to know that the bank is using that $100 to go invest. So just go do what the bank does. Go invest. So I like the fact that they gave us a specific number, 10% as a rate of return on investment. Like, that's a good benchmark, because that'll cover the cost of inflation and some other variables to make sure that not only you retain the value of your money, but you also add more money to it, right? Okay, so obviously we've talked a lot about that, and we'll continue to talk about high yield investments, high yield assets. But I really think I'm going to stick with this high income skills for a bit, because it's so groundbreaking. Again, for me, it feels like the missing link. Anyway, I'm out of time. It's time for prayer time now. So expect me to keep talking about high income skills and high yield assets. Check out prayer time right now at 10:15. Check out Sit with Rev Melissa at 10:30. I'll be producing that show, and I might be popping in to say hi. Until I see you again, keep doing, be a hero, be your own hero. And remember that now is better than perfect in terms of investing. Go invest some money today. All right, later.